Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today, our lesson, I'm going to assume you have never played guitar before and this is your very first guitar lesson. So, welcome. I'm glad I hope you have a guitar with you. If you don't, that's okay. You can imagine. That's a powerful tool as well. But grab your guitar. Let's talk about the strings, how to tune it, and your first guitar exercise that I want for you to think about really deeply. So here we go. The first thing we need to accomplish is just to know how many strings we've got and what their names are. This instrument has 6 strings. You're going to start on the lowest string. That's the string that's closest to you. It is string 6 in number system. By how we number the strings, this is 6. And it is our low E string. It's the biggest number. It's your biggest string. This is string 6. The next string is string 5. And that is A. That is the A string. It is A what, Zach? That is the A string. The next string we have is string 4, and that is the D string. So, D, string 4. The next string we have is the G string, that is string 3. The next string we have is the B string, that's string 2. And then we have the high E string, that's string 1. So we have 2 E's, right? How great is that? We don't even have to learn 6 unique letters. One of them is doubled. Usually how you're going to see it represented is that the first E is going to be capitalized. Sorry, I don't know if I'm reading left to right here or not. The first E is going to be capitalized and the last E is going to be a lowercase letter. So just because we have 2 of them. So the big E is going to be your lowest tone, the biggest string. And the lowercase e is going to represent your high E string, or the 1, the smallest number, right? So, smallest string, smallest number, biggest string, biggest number. I know it's kind of confusing. It feels like this one should be 1, but I didn't make the rules. Biggest string, biggest number, string 6, string 1. You can do fun little exercises just having that information. You can go, all right, pluck string 2, pluck string 5, pluck string 3, pluck string 1. I feel like I might have played one of the earlier notes wrong. All right, well, aside from that, we have 6 strings. You need to know how to tune your instrument. You have tuning pegs up on top, and with the tuning pegs, if you turn them left, it goes flat. If you turn them right, it goes sharp, right? So your note might be off a little bit and you need to get it back to center. Now I'm going to turn on my tuner. I'm not going to show you exactly how to tune. I just don't want to have to adjust my cameras and create the perfect way of describing this to you. But essentially, if you have a tuning headstock tuner, you would just clip it on to your headstock here and it's picking up on the vibrations from your guitar. And as you go through your strings, the guitar vibrates and the headstock tuner will read it for you. I'm using a pedal tuner right now because I'm playing an electric guitar. A lot of people don't pick up guitar on electric. A lot of people start on an acoustic. So you're going to want to get a headstock tuner at some point or another. There's also tons of apps. If you want to tune your guitar, you can pull up a, excuse me. If you want to tune your instrument, you can download an app. Guitar Tuna, like the fish, is probably the most popular one. I have downloaded that on my phone a dozen times over at this point. And yeah, there's good ways of, wow, that's not even locked at all. There's good ways to check your tuning, and there's lots of ways to do it now. When I was a kid, we used to have to pull up, I would go to Guitar Tuner online on the family computer, and I would hit a note on the thing, and I'd have to match pitch by ear. Matching pitch by ear is a super useful skill that I think may sort of fade out with, everyone using headstock tuners. They're so accessible. And now they have rechargeable headstock tuners. I'm getting off the rails here, but when I was a kid, if you had a headstock tuner, you had to have one of those tiny little circle batteries that were impossible to find. No one had them in their kitchen drawer that we keep all the batteries in. And all right, I am feeling old, but here we go. So you have 6 strings. Hopefully you know how to tune your instrument. What do we do next? Well, this was my first guitar lesson that was given to me by my 5th grade teacher. I think my first guitar lesson was the summer after my 5th grade. My choir teacher saw that I was expressing interest in guitar, and he was like, well, I play guitar, and I can give you your first lesson. So I went and visited, and he gave me my first lesson, and it was this. And I didn't really understand why I was practicing it, and it kind of confused me. So I'm going to tell you what to play, and then I'm going to tell you why it works. Here we are. You're going to practice the chromatic scale. The chromatic scale is a fancy way of just saying every single note. So the way that music sounds is that we skip notes, and it makes it sound really pretty, and that's what gives us our do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Well, when we play our chromatic scale, we're just going to play every single note on the fretboard on all 6 strings. This is a great time to understand tablature too, because I'm going to write this out in tab. So in tablature form, you have along the side, you're going to have the numbers of the strings, right? I'll put the letters next to the strings too, so you can get an idea for those also. But that's going to be the string number. And then past the bar, as you read left to right, those are going to be the fret numbers. And they're on the different strings. And you're just going to read it left to right. Sometimes you'll see tab numbers stacked over each other, and that means you play 2 notes at the same time, or 3 notes, or 6 notes. But in this case, we're just going to play 1 note at a time, and you're just going to read it left to right, and it starts on string 6, and it works its way up to string 1. So here it is. The scale I want for you to practice, the chromatic scale, looks like this. You pluck the open string 6, then put your first finger on the first fret of that same string, put your second finger on the second fret, third finger on the third fret, fourth finger on the fourth fret, and I want for you to put all of your fingers on together. Why that matters that you're putting your fingers on together, even if you just did string 6, this is going to be the biggest stretch you really get here. And it's hard because at first when we hold our guitar, this is a big tip. I want you to know this. How we hold our guitar is very important. Try not to think about it as we need to have guitar player posture where it sits on our stomach real perfect and we go left to right. If you're using your wings to play the instrument, it can be useful and you may catch flight, but you could play more comfortably if you just kind of tilt your guitar more towards my left knee. So as I'm facing my left knee, my guitar now has a little bit of a different angle, and when I need to reach for things, my arm goes forward and backwards instead of side to side, right? So this is a little bit more comfortable doing that. So I'm gonna tilt my guitar a little bit forward, and what I want for you to do is as you're adding your fingers, you need to make sure that you're also not doing what I call pocketing the instrument. When the guitar is right in the pocket of your palm and your thumb, this feels like how we should be able to play guitar. It feels like, and some chords are comfortable doing that, and I can play guitar using pocketing pretty comfortably, but when we need to stretch to play scales and even some really, prettier chords up the neck or just learning how to play bar chords, what you want to know how to do is how to put your thumb and your hand kind of like you're holding like a taco or something, and your thumb is not curled up above your fingers. If your thumb is like this, right, and it's above the fingers, then you're gonna lose a lot of range of motion. Like I can't stretch my pinky past there and I feel silly. And then when I put my thumb down, my pinky can go really far. And if I give my elbow a little wing towards the inside, I can go like 1 to 6, 1 to 7. Oh, that's a big stretch. But you can stretch so much further than you think you can if you just put your thumb, instead of letting it be real tall, if you let your thumb relax and your fingers do the work. So string 6 is the hardest part. As you go down from here, it'll get easier. So we have string 6, 2, 3, 4, string 5, open, 1, 2, 3, 4, string 4. You see where this is going. If you're a smart student, you probably see what's happening here. You're going to do the same exercise on all 6 strings, and the goal here is not to sound musical. Go up it, go down it. Going down, I like to just let my fingers kind of fly through the notes because it's like faster to me in that way. It's kind of hard to set all 4 fingers and then release versus adding fingers. I feel like that's a fair argument. So when I go backwards, I just like to let my fingers kind of fly through the notes. But as you go up, I would like it if you could stretch, really see if you can hold the first note and the 4th note at the same time. This is going to be a good exercise. So what you're doing when you're practicing this is not practicing music. It is actually like, unless you're of the chaotic neutral or chaotic evil type. I don't know why you're using chromatic in your guitar playing. That's not true. I wrote a bunch of songs with chromatic scales. I use chromatic almost too much. Either way, as you're practicing this, you're not going to feel very musical. There's no really way to add context to this musically that you're going to feel like you're practicing something. But what you are doing is doing an exercise, like you're going to the gym and working out. And that's how I want for you to think of this. Because if you want to pick up guitar and you want to feel like you can play through those scales, and strum chords, you're going to want to just have a basic comfortability with your right hand and your left hand firing off at the same time, because there's a timing thing there that you need to think about. You can use all downstrokes, down, 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 down. Open, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I use alternate picking pretty comfortably, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So whatever you want to do, but what you're doing here is you're practicing your right hand and your left hand being in sync. And it's very useful in guitar. It'd be like if you were practicing a piano with one hand is one thing, but when you try to do the scales in sequence with the left hand, you go, oh wow, this is actually much more challenging than I thought. So that's what you're practicing here. When we're picking up the scale and we're just letting it fall out of our fingertips, right? What you're listening for is that every note is crystal clear, and you're not like buzzing some notes. Like your pinky might have trouble making the note sound really, really good. On an acoustic guitar, the action on the guitar, meaning like how hard you have to press to fret things, is a little tougher than on my electric here. But the goal is that you would be able to play every single note crystal clear and just have a comfortability just wiggling your fingers through the frets. If you did this once a day, twice a day for a week or two, by the time you start to tackle another guitar lesson, you're going to feel so much more comfortable. You will have a level of just general fluidity as you're starting to try to reach for things. But yeah, the big things I want for you to think about as you're practicing that is your wrist right behind the guitar, or is it under the guitar? Sometimes you got to push your wrist a little bit forward and kind of get it more under versus it being nice and tight and stiff behind the instrument. There's a time and place for doing this. I'm all good with pocketing. It's comfortable. It looks cool. I'm all good with playing the guitar side to side. Sometimes it's comfortable, sometimes it looks cool. But as you're learning, you're going to find the ways that you can manipulate your instrument to feel good, just comfortable enough that you can control your instrument, and then your left hand actually will never be doing any lifting of the neck, right? If you have a strap, you don't really have to do that. And if you're sitting, your right arm and your right knee are going to be doing all of the like lifting, and your left arm should just be free to float and add as it needs. So this is your first guitar lesson. When I first started practicing that, I did not know what I was practicing it for. And I think I practiced it a bunch till my fingers bled because I was so hardcore. That's the story I'll tell. But I didn't know why I was doing it, and then I kind of got burned out. Just started like strumming chords. Luckily, I still had the spark, and I started looking up tabs, and I figured out how to play some songs for myself, which I would encourage you to do also. If you have a favorite song or something you want to get after and learn, nothing's stopping you. Get after it. Go see if you can play Hey There Delilah, or start with Stairway to Heaven. Start with whatever. See how much you can accomplish out of it. Take a little bite out of it and feel like you're like learning. So this is the goal as a guitar player: is that you want to know the string numbers and the string names. E A D G B E 6 5 4 3 2 1. You want to know that you can fret from the open strings to the fourth frets. Open 1 2 3 4. And past that, I have a bunch of other lessons you can start to look into and start to feel comfortable with some of the systems, like tablature and this finger, how to stretch for notes. These are all going to be really useful tools down the line. So I hope you've learned something. The method, the why I'm doing this, I played a new church gig on Sunday. I had a new church service that I was able to serve with, and I had a great time. And some of the other worship directors and leaders in the band had kids that are like of learning age and are interested in learning guitar. And so I passed on my information to them and was thinking, well, maybe I should make some content for people who are just trying to pick it up from lesson 1. And then I played another gig on Monday for my aunt at a Meet the Teacher event she had for a private school she has near Katy. And same deal, where I had a bunch of parents and kids that I met that I was thinking, I wish I had some really basic guitar stuff to pass along to them. So this is my basic, like, if you've never picked up an instrument before, this is lesson number 1. And I hope you've learned something. Guitar is a lifelong journey. So take this little bit of information, practice it for a week, add another video to it. See if you can just take little bites out of this. And if you find the spark to learn something on your own, there's so many good YouTube teachers. There's so many good tutorials online you can find. So I hope you're a lifelong student of guitar like I am, and I will just try to keep helping you grow as much as I can. Let me know if you have any questions about what I said or about some future lessons I can help teach you. And I'm just grateful to get to do this. I hope you've had a great week. It's another beautiful Wednesday here in my studio. Glad to get to do this. See you next time.